Hi, I'm Gary Engel. I met Sam on the tennis courts in Central Park in New York. I played with him doubles and often singles later in his life. And always enjoyed Sam's stories, his ability to collect around him interesting people. And he was always a highlight of my life. Probably for about a decade or so, I followed him through his later years here in New York into his apartment in Astoria before he relocated to California. And I followed him through his daughter, Claire, till about the end of his life. And I've always looked back fondly on Sam. He was one of the highlights of my latter years. My particular memory about Sam was how he collected people around him, how he was such an enjoyable person to be around that people congregated to him and brought others together who might not normally have approached each other. He was a central character in any group of people. He was probably the one that kept our tennis doubles group together for so many years because he was the one that put out the telephone calls and the emails to make sure there were enough people that showed up every Saturday morning to keep the game active. Numbers of us have tried to keep that going since Sam left New York and found out how difficult was his task and how successful he was at it in bringing people together to know each other.
Thom Ruhe. Sam was my uncle, and I do remember a couple things about being over at his house in Rye. He was incredibly gracious. The place was beautiful. He hosted a party for our wedding, and anything we needed, he did it. Plus, I love listening to his stories about living in Cuba and traveling the world with his kids and working for the Associated Press. I mean, it's been 20 or 25 years, so I don't remember them off the cuff, but they were always really engaging. He loved telling them and spending time with people, and I thought he was a fun spirit to be around, and I'm going to miss him. So thank you for asking.
Hi, I'm Joanne McGrath Mills, and I knew Sam before I was married, so it was Joanne McGrath at the time. And I met Sam because it was on St. Patrick's Day back in 1980, and being a McGrath, I was decked out in green, and I was working a side job at a bar, and Sam came to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and he saw me all decked out in green. He said, "Well, you obviously don't do this all day." And I said, "No, I'm putting myself through secretarial school." He says, "Well, I just got promoted and I need a secretary. Come see me tomorrow morning." So that's how it all started. That's the rest of the story. I have wonderful memories with Sam, and I have to admit we were both chocoholics. So we loved our chocolate cake and we ate it too. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Hal Buell. I'm retired from the Associated Press. Sam and I worked together at AP. I was in charge of photos and he was in charge of the Latin American desk. And we would coordinate efforts from time to time on different projects. More importantly, after Sam left AP and after he left the New York Times, Sam and I worked together on a couple of projects that he put together. One was a photo exhibition in Poland, of all places, of a newspaper that was 10 years old or 20 years old, and they did some kind of anniversary thing, and we did that. And then I also worked with Sam when he did a documentary on John Paul, which was done in both English and Polish, I believe. I collected a lot of pictures for him, and they were used in the documentary. And from time to time, I'd help Sam out with his stars, mostly with technical background, and steering him to somebody that would do the job cheaper than I would do it. Yeah, Sam was quite a character. He'd turn up at the AP 25-year party, which was an annual get-together of senior AP staffers, more than 25 years of service. And Sam would always turn up with a different lady. I used to kid him about it. What's next year's model going to look like? Sam was a character. He was a pleasant guy to be with. He had a good sense of humor, and I'm glad I knew him over all those years.
Ruth Bates. Sam and I know each other originally from St. James Church, and we're both from the Carolinas. He's a Tar Heel, I'm a hillbilly. I got the better bars. That's it. We just hung out and had a great time. We had a great time.
What did you like about Sam? What was it?
Jesus Christ, it's fun. A whole bunch of fun. A whole bunch of fun. He was a good person. We just fun. Just hung out. Yeah, never got to play tennis with him. Yeah, just about a bunch of fun. Catch me later after one more drink for Sam.
I'm Donna Angle, and my husband and I met Sam on a tennis court, and till the time Sam moved to California, my husband played tennis with him and then first visited him. What I liked about Sam, he always looked on the bright side of things. He was a little bit older than we were, but he never talked about health problems. Like as we get to Sam's age, we're always talking about our health issues, our peer group. Sam never did. And I love that about him because I'm sure he had experienced that sort of thing. But we played tennis. I played tennis with him until my hip operation, and he kept prying me to play more and more. We worked up to 3 hours of doubles tennis, and that is one thing that I don't know if that was good or bad. And then we went some places with Sam, and we went to the St. James Church, and my husband continued to visit him when he moved out to Astoria, and until the time he left the city, my husband kept up a friendship and would bring him food and stuff too. Sam had a sweet tooth, as I remember. So Gary would bring him sweets. So we really do miss Sam, but I miss Sam as the way I knew him. I didn't know him once he lived out in Astoria, and even before that, since I had quit playing tennis with him. But I kept up through my husband, and it's been fun to be here, and I thank you for inviting us.
My name is Tuwana Salim. I'm from former Yugoslavia. I came to America in 1999. I met Sam in 2001 in a building when I used to work. He helped me with my essays, my term papers. I'm very thankful to him. Without him, I wouldn't get my degree. Most of the A's that I got at my college, I got it thanks to him. So I will never forget his help. Thank you so much, Sam Summerlin.
I'm Thomson. I first met Sam because we lived in the same building in New York City, and he asked what I did, and I said I was in public relations, and he got me into the Foreign Press Association Club, and then I became a freelance journalist, and then we worked on a few documentaries together, and we became tennis buddies after that. So that's my best souvenir of Sam, really playing tennis on the courts with two other guys, and they were tough matches. And Sam always would tell his great stories as a journalist when he worked at the AP and New York Times, and of course Hollywood stars. So he's a great man and treasure to remember.
Sam. I live in Rye, and I met Sam at the Copley Country Club one night. He came in, and he liked the music, and he asked me to dance, and we twirled around that floor for a long time. That's how I met Sam.
Hi, my name is Barbara Beals. I met Sam at a party with his wife, and about a year later he started Hollywood Stars and asked me if I'd like to be his copy editor and proofreader. So we did a few projects, but along the way we became very, very good friends. And my daughter was little at the time, and he used to treat her to things like Rockefeller Center, ice skating, and he was a really wonderful part of her life when she was little. And he invited us to stay at his apartment to see the Thanksgiving Day parade the next day. He was just a wonderful man, so well-read, so enlightening. I'm just so happy he was a part of our life, and I love him and I miss him.
I met Sam at a very interesting arts function, and it has to be about 10 years ago. And he came up to me, and he was having a Bailey's cocktail, and that's how the Irish connection started. Because my name is Dimna Gilhooly, and he couldn't get it, so we had to go with the letter D. So that works, okay? That was the first. But we definitely struck up a connection because we really became best friends, and it really was pretty amazing getting together all the time and catching up pretty much weekly for everything, whether it be just a cup of coffee or going to his local right around the corner. That's what we did. Sam had very much interest in all of his Hollywood aspects, so we did get to go to a couple of foreign press events and a couple of other events, and it was always, what can I say? It was always just remarkable, and a brilliant time, and the fondest memories. Really, the fondest memories. Best friends.
But yeah, I don't like literally, I've been here for 3 years, and my mom's come twice, and my sister's trips, my
Hi, my name is Berkeley Summerlin, and I am Sam Summerlin's granddaughter. So a memory that I have of Sam is actually he came to Baltimore to visit us, and I think I was in either middle school or high school. And he always liked to get up in the middle of the night and wander around, and I snuck back into the house thinking I was never going to get caught. I hear him wandering around, I jump behind a couch, and he sits in the living room for like 30 minutes, and I'm sitting behind the couch just trying not to make sure he hears me. And finally he goes back up to bed, and I pull myself from behind the couch and go back upstairs to my room, and I actually got away with it. So that's kind of a fun memory that I have of Sam.